The story of Wolverine's origins is basically when he's a kid, a teenager, and a young adult. But mostly the first 2 to 3 issues are when he's a kid. I mean, a kid like 10 to 13. He's a young kid. So what the story I think did really well is first, it's character driven. You get used to all these characters. You hate some, you love some, but overall you get to know Wolverine. You get to know Rose, who's the main girl of the story. You get to know Dog, and basically you get to know all these different characters, which is very cool. And I love when it's character driven, so you actually feel for the characters when something happens. You get the real backstory of Wolverine, which is always cool to know, how he was, raised and changed into who he is today. I think the story also has a lot of good twists, and some I didn't actually see coming. And when a comic can do that, which it barely ever does for me, I think it really deserves to be called out on a good twist. And like I said, there's both characters you hated and likable characters, and I think they did a good job of splitting the two. The only negative things I really have to say is it doesn't lead to Weapon X, and I know that's another story, but it is part of Wolverine's origins, and I would have liked that. But I understand that they can't put everything into 6 issues, but I still wish there was Weapon X, or at least the start of it, in here. And overall, the ending I felt could have been better. It was kind of left off and not the greatest ending, but it's far from weak, and it isn't enjoyable. It's just the ending could have done more. When reading a Wolverine issue, you would expect the artwork to be pretty bloody, and I think it does a pretty good job here. It's very detailed when it goes into the blood and his claws, and anything that is vicious, like the faces and everything, they do a really good job in detail. I also think overall the art design is very kick-ass, especially the covers to each issue. I mean, some of them are great shadowing and just look really well done, like a scenery picture, and I think overall the art's really nice. And I also like that the fighting is very easy to follow. Not that there's a ton of it, but you get, like, when you're reading it, it's like a nice flow. It isn't like 1 second he's on the floor and the next he's on the ceiling and you're like, what the hell just happened? How did he get up there? It just flows really nice, and with the detail and kick-ass art design, really the art, I have nothing to complain about. While Wolverine Origin is only a 6-issue story, I think it does a really good job, and there actually feels like it's a nice, made book. And you get the entire backstory of Wolverine as a kid to a teenager to a young adult, and I think it just does a really good job of capturing this guy before he becomes the Wolverine, we all know and love, Mr. Bub. I just call it because he likes to say it all the time. And I also think that I love the savage fights against the wolves and stuff, and it's not really a spoiler. You know how Wolverine gets. So I think you will really enjoy it in terms of that. The only thing I would have enjoyed even more is that even if it wasn't in Wolverine Origin, it led to Weapon X, which I hear Wolverine Origins, which will be my next review for this, does lead into that, and hopefully it lives up to what this was. And the only other thing I have to complain about is I feel that some of the deaths in this are kind of weak. Some were really well done, some were very fucked up, but overall I wasn't really feeling, I don't want to spoil it, but really the last, okay, I'm not going to spoil it, but just some deaths aren't that great in my opinion. But overall, if you enjoy Wolverine or X-Men, or just want to enjoy a nice backstory of a character, Wolverine's Origin is definitely worth picking up. It was reprinted recently, the 6-issue graphic novel or paperback model, whatever you want to call it. I would definitely pick it up. It's only $13 on Amazon, and it's definitely worth the money.